Hey, welcome to Your Left Politics. I'm your host, Superior, host of Why I Hate Politics also. And today we're going to talk about how progressives and the progressive platform is a direct threat to the corporate Democrats' agenda and why you're going to see even more pushback from these corporate Democrats. And for quite some time, I've been asked plenty of times of why the Democratic Party just can't all get along. Why they can't be like the Republican Party and just fall behind each other, regardless if they're progressives, liberals, moderates, centrists. Why can't they just get on the same page and just beat Republicans? But my answer, it can be complicated. But I'm gonna try to lay this out as easy as possible. And the obvious answer is money. Money in politics equals corruption. And if you have a party that is bought and paid by corporations and lobbyists and foreign entities, you are going to have a party that is not for the people. And within that party, if you have an opposition group that is a direct threat to that money, you're going to see pushback. And unfortunately, it's like oil and water. You can't mix the two. And this is why we're seeing a lot of pushback with Zohran Mamdani or a lot of other progressives or democratic socialists that have been winning for the past couple of months now. You're going to see a lot more pushback from corporate Democrats than you're going to see from Republicans. And this is my three reasons why money in politics is going to turn corporate Democrats against progressives, because progressives in the policies are a direct threat to the corporate agenda. So, one way that progressives are a threat is a threat to corporate power. Corporate Democrats protect corporate power by relying on corporate PAC donations and opposing or watering down policies that would significantly reduce the influence of large corporations and wealthy interests. Instead of restructuring the system, they tend to favor incremental reforms that preserve the current relationship between businesses and government. For example, bank regulations after financial crisis in 2018, a number of Senate's Democrats voted for the Economic Growth, Regulatory Relief, and Consumer Protection Act, which rolled back some banking regulations established after the 2008 financial crisis. Progressives opposed the bill, arguing it will weaken financial oversight. And here is a list of corporate Democrats that receive big bank money and lobbyists. So we know the 2008 crisis was a disaster. Now you're telling me my government, Democrats, are now rolling back those regulations that were implemented to banks. Why would they do that? I don't want a government that's going to have their best interests and roll back regulations when they continue to exploit us in every way possible. If we have learned anything from 2028 is these banking institutions and other institutions need to have regulations. And those regulations are to protect us. Rolling those back only shows us that they do not care about us. All right, so reason number two is a threat to privatization. Progressive policies challenge privatization by shifting essential services like healthcare, education, and public infrastructure away from private companies and towards public programs. Progressives argue that basic needs should be treated as public goods rather than profit driven industries. For years, Medicare for All has been one of the most popular policies amongst progressives. Yet, despite having over 100 co-sponsors in Congress, Democratic leadership have never allowed the bill to receive a full House vote, leaving the proposal stalled before it could ever be debated and voted by the entire chamber. And here's a few politicians that are bought and paid for by our healthcare system. And I know you guys have heard this before, but it is worth saying it again and again. Our healthcare is more expensive, but yet we have the lowest quality of healthcare. And supposedly we're the wealthiest country in the world. So why do we have the poorest healthcare quality? It's because our politicians are bought and paid for by big healthcare system, by insurance lobbyists. So why would we ever get the best healthcare that we deserve? Because our politicians understand that these companies, that these industries, that these institutions are worried about profit. They're putting profit over people. And when that happens, the people, you and I, will always get the short end of the stick. And that right there is why we can't have politicians getting bought and paid by insurance companies. And last but not least, a threat to party control. Progressives challenge party control by running against establishment Democrats, rejecting corporate PAC money, and demanding that the party prioritizes working class voters over traditional political power brokers. As progressives gain influence, the establishment risks losing control over the party's direction. One example, AIPAC has been one of the biggest outside spenders in Democratic primaries. Since 2022, it has spent hundreds of millions of dollars supporting establishment Democrats and opposing progressive candidates, arguing it supports pro-Israel leaders, while critics say it reinforces establishment control within the party. And here is a few politicians who are bought and paid by AIPAC money. And this is a very simple concept. Who funds you, runs you. If we have foreign countries who is paying our politicians to run in these races, to outseat some of these progressive candidates like a Cori Bush or a Jamal Bowman, if they are paying millions of dollars to these politicians to win their seat, how is that democracy? How is that establishing any relationship, any trust with the people and those politicians if they are receiving money from outside entities to run in these races? What does that say about us? What does that say about our politicians? We need to get money out of our politics. So the truth is, yes, progressives are a threat to the establishment. But you know what? That is okay, because the politics of before has not worked for us. And we would be crazy to think it will somehow work for us in the future. Once we get money out of politics, and this is not a cure for all, but in my opinion, this is the foundation of a corrupt politics, of a corrupt government. If our politicians have their loyalty with other industries, other countries, and not the people, that is a politics that is not working for the people. And it is our job to demand more from our politicians. And one thing we need to agree on is money needs to leave politics, period. All right, guys, so hopefully that was informative. I try not to make these videos like 20, 30 minutes long. I like to give you guys something, a substance within a nutshell, something that can get your mind working just for a few minutes. So if you like what you hear, go ahead, subscribe, like this video, share it to your friends because you know your friends need it. But once again, I will see you guys next Monday with another conversation. See you guys then.